Defeat always leaves questions, reflections, and honest words. After a 2-0 loss to Manchester City, the Wolverhampton players faced the microphones to explain what went wrong, what they felt on the pitch, and how the team plans to move forward. Tonight, we're listening closely to those voices. The frustration, the responsibility, the lessons taken from a difficult night against one of the strongest teams in the world. Let's hear what the Wolves players had to say after this tough 2-0 defeat.
Today we're going to look at what the Wolves players actually said after facing Manchester City. City finally ended their winless run, won 2-0 at the Etihad, but the story doesn't stop at the scoreline, because after the match, Wolves players spoke very openly about the difference in level, the pressure City put on them, and what it's really like to face Guardiola's team even without Haaland starting. So stay with me until the end of the video, because I'll break down the reaction from the Wolves dressing room, what they admitted about City's control, and whether this result was more about City improving or Wolves simply having no margin for error right now. This isn't hype, this is how the players who were on the pitch saw the game. To set the scene, this was a must-win game for Manchester City. Guardiola's side came into the match on a 4-game winless run in the league, under pressure and with key players like Haaland, Foden and Doku starting on the bench. Against the Wolves side sitting bottom of the table, City didn't waste time. They controlled possession early, pinned Wolves back and scored inside the first 6 minutes. Marmoush, stepping in for Haaland, finished calmly after a Matheus Nunes cross to make it 1-0. From that moment on, the pattern was clear. City dominated territory, recycled the ball patiently and kept Wolves defending deep. Marmoush hit the post. City were denied what looked like a clear penalty, and just before half-time, Semenyo doubled the lead with a composed finish to give City full control of the game. In the second half, Wolves tried to be more direct, especially with aerial balls. But City never really lost control. Guardiola then brought on Haaland, Foden and Doku to manage the tempo and shut the game down. Semenyo even hit the bar again as City pushed for a third. It wasn't spectacular City at their absolute peak, but it was professional, controlled and authoritative. And for Wolves, it was another afternoon where the gap in quality, decision-making and depth was brutally clear. That's the backdrop to what the Wolves players said after the final whistle. José, when you play against Manchester City, especially here at the Etihad, you understand very quickly that the margin for error is basically zero. From the first minute they put you under pressure, not always with intensity but with intelligence. They move the ball, they wait, they drag you out of position. For a goalkeeper, it's one of the hardest games because you're constantly organizing, constantly shouting, constantly trying to keep everyone focused. And even then, they still find a way. The goals we conceded came from moments where we were half a second late, and against a team like City, half a second is enough. That's the level. João Gomes. It's one of those games where you feel like you're running a lot but not really getting closer to the ball. City make you work without the ball in a way that's mentally exhausting. You try to press, you try to close the passing lanes, but they always have an extra option. When you finally win the ball back, you're already tired, and that affects your next decision. That's why they're so difficult to play against. It's not just quality, it's control. They decide when the game is fast and when it slows down. Andre, from a midfielder's point of view, this is probably the hardest type of match. You're constantly having to make decisions. Do I step out? Do I stay? Do I cover space? Or go to the man? And City are brilliant at punishing the wrong decision. If you step out too early, they play around you. If you stay too deep, they dominate the space in front of you. It feels like a chess match, but played at full speed. You come off the pitch knowing you gave everything, but also knowing the level they operate at is extremely high. Hwang Hee-chan, we knew before the game that conceding early would make everything much harder, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened. Once City score, the whole dynamic changes. They become even more comfortable, they keep the ball longer, and they force you to defend deeper and deeper. As an attacking player, you get very few chances to run or express yourself. When those moments come, you have to be perfect, and today we didn't manage that. Against City, you don't get second chances. Craig Dawson. These are the games that really show you the level of the league. You can be organized, you can be disciplined, you can do a lot of things right and still lose. City don't need many opportunities. They're patient, they don't force things, and they wait for you to make a mistake. What impressed me most was that even without some of their regular starters on the pitch, the way they play doesn't change. That's what makes them so dangerous. The system stays the same, the standards stay the same. Mario Lemina. People sometimes look at the scoreline and think it was easy for them, but on the pitch it feels very different. It's physically demanding, yes, but more than that, it's mentally demanding. You're constantly concentrating, constantly adjusting your position, constantly reacting, and when your concentration drops even slightly, they take advantage. That's the reality of playing against a team like City. They don't need chaos to win games. They create control, and control kills you slowly. Listening to what the Wolves players said after the game, I actually think this match says as much about Manchester City's level as it does about Wolves' situation right now. This wasn't City at their most spectacular. It wasn't peak Guardiola football with endless chances and flashy moves, but it was something just as dangerous. Control. City didn't rush, didn't panic, and didn't need chaos to win the game. They scored early, managed the tempo, and slowly drained Wolves both physically and mentally. And what really stands out is how often the Wolves players talked about decision making and fatigue. Not tired legs, tired minds. That's usually the sign you're playing against an elite side. When even experienced professionals feel like they're always half a second late, that's not bad defending. That's the opponent dictating everything. For Wolves, this game felt like another reminder of where they are. They worked hard, they stayed organized for spells, but at this level, effort alone isn't enough. The gap in quality, depth, and control was clear, and the players themselves didn't try to hide that. So yes, City ended their winless run. But more importantly, they reminded everyone how they win games. Calm, patient, intelligent football. Even without all their stars starting, the system stayed strong. For Wolves, it's another tough lesson in a difficult season. For City, it's a quiet but important step back towards normality. Sometimes the most worrying City performances aren't the flashy ones. They're the ones where they beat you without ever looking like they're out of second gear. Now, I want to hear from you. Was this more about Manchester City getting back to basics, or Wolves simply having no answers? Do City still look like genuine title contenders to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments, give the video a like if you enjoyed this kind of analysis, and subscribe for more player reactions, media breakdowns, and Premier League talk from a UK perspective. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next one.
These were the words of a team that fought, suffered, and now looks ahead. Defeats hurt, but they also shape character, and Wolverhampton made it clear that this result will not define their season. If you enjoyed this video and want more post-match reactions, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your opinion in the comments. Your support makes all the difference. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.